Okay. Hi, Lou.
Hi,
Thank you so
Deb.
much for joining us again to talk
My
about
pleasure.
your.
My pleasure. I love it.
It's always a pleasure to have you. So today we're going to talk about your recent group that you took to Africa. So tell us a little bit about your group and who they were, how you built that group.
Well, it was a fantastic itinerary, and everybody that came along on the tour had never been to Africa. So I considered our itinerary Africa 101, which was kind of like a great itinerary for first timer to experience both the town and country aspect. So we went to Cape Town first for several days, and then we went out to wine country in Stellenbosch and did some wine tasting, visited wineries. Then we flew to Port Elizabeth for a safari at a fantastic safari lodge. Then we flew up to Victoria Falls to view the legendary falls. And this was a 10-night trip. We had 18 guests, and that number was determined because the lodge only had 9 suites, and I wanted us to be able to have the entire lodge to ourselves. So I limited the group to 18 guests. So the way the group came together, what I usually do with my cruise groups is I periodically take polls. You know, I have a Facebook page that's private for our group cruisers. So I periodically take polls. Where do you want to go next? Any ideas? And Africa was always at the top of my list. And I pitched the idea. And I knew that because it's such an exotic destination, it's expensive destination, that people, want to be extra cautious. They like safety in numbers. They like traveling with people that they know. They don't want to go someplace like that, by themselves. So fortunately, the group came together very, very quickly. So I was very grateful for that.
Great. Now I know that you have done many cruise groups. Was this one of the first land groups you've done, and or maybe you've done a few, and how is that different from doing a cruise group?
Yes, I've always done land tours for pre-cruise and post-cruise because all my groups have been cruise groups. And this was the first time that we did an all land tour. And it is different from the cruise groups because there are a lot more nuts and bolts that you have to look out for, a lot more moving parts. With a cruise, your basic itinerary is taken care of, and there's going to be shore excursions and so forth. But with a land group, you have to be careful. Pacing, how many days are you going to spend in each place, what kind of excursions are you going to want to put together. So it's a different animal than a cruise group. Yes, a little bit more work, but rewarding and fun.
Well, we've talked about in this class, or we will talk about it, about using a tour company or a tour wholesaler and the advantages to doing that rather than putting all the pieces together yourself, which is
Yes.
an enormous amount of work.
Yes,
and
no need to reinvent the wheel, right?
Right. So tell us a little bit about the tour company you used, how you selected it, and maybe how they helped you, what kind of help they provided.
Mm-hmm. Well, I used African Travel, and it happens to be one of the preferred vendors with our consortium. So, and I like checking with them first because I know that they've been vetted by the consortium, and I know that I can get reliable reviews from my peers in the consortium, and I know that they'll pay a little bit more attention to us because we are they're a member, and we're members of the consortium. So African Travel was a company that seemed to have itineraries that lined up with what our group wanted. And it was very important that they were also sensitive to our budgetary, expectations. We wanted a really high quality tour with a company that, solely does Africa. That's another big advantage. But we also didn't want over the top prices. So African Travel was a perfect fit for us.
Great. So did they provide any special benefits? Did you have like any meetings ahead of time, or did they assign someone to help you with your group, or just what kind of specific benefits did you get from them?
Mm-hmm. We did have a safari specialist, one of their res agents. who was assigned to us. And so I worked with her from start to finish. And, um, you know, we wanted a totally custom itinerary. We didn't want something that was cookie cutter. And so we worked with her, and she came up with some ideas, and she came up with ideas for lodges, and I, you know, checked them all out. You know, they were all very, very quality. And also told her about special occasions. We had some birthdays in the group, so she made sure that the lodges knew about that, and knew that we were all new to Africa, so made sure that the lodges added, you know, like a special sundowner during one of our game drives, and, you know, birthday cakes, and, you know, just something special. And we did have guides that were specifically assigned to our group in each, like one guide in Cape Town, one guide in Chimwari, one guide in Victoria Falls. And so they were with us the entire time, very high touch, wonderful, wonderful guides. They have a great partnership with ground operators in South Africa. So, you know, that it just worked out so well. So everyone in the group was so impressed.
That's great. And that kind of covers the next question I was going to ask, and that is, you talk a lot about, and we talk in the course about making your group unshoppable. And so it sounds like that you added a lot of custom touches that made it completely unshoppable, that they couldn't get anywhere else.
Exactly. You know, it's a combination of the lodges, it's the routing, the itinerary, you know, the experiences that you want. You know, you do want to make it unshoppable. And when you are planning a custom itinerary, it usually means it is unshoppable. So, you know, that's another great advantage to working with a supplier who only sells the destination, doesn't have to necessarily sell the rest of the world. But if they sell only the destination, then you know that they have the right contacts. You know, they know the time to go, the people to, you know, get a hold of, and so forth. So it really makes it a lot easier for you.
Great. Okay, so you've given us a lot of great information as usual. Do you have any parting tips? For our one thing that our students ask a lot, and this could be part of your tips, and you can say it very succinctly, because I know we can't please everyone in a group, but somehow students get the idea that, you know, we're doing this custom, we're taking all this input and we're pleasing everybody. You really can't do that. So how do you handle that? And then do you have any other just parting tips for them?
Yeah, it's just, you know, don't even try to make everybody happy, you know. Don't stress, you know, because I always have to remind myself that everybody has a different degree of happiness, you know, and it's so subjective. So I think that if the group kind of tends to react to how you react to situations and things that are going on the tour. So I think if you always keep a positive attitude, that goes a long way. And another thing is communication. You know, when working with your group, communicate all the time. Let them know that you're going to be sending out emails with lots of important stuff, and don't be afraid to be repetitive. Don't be afraid to keep reminding them, you know, because you'll be surprised how many people don't read their emails, don't read their documents, don't read anything important. So be repetitive, keep in constant touch, keep a sunny attitude. If there's any special request of the group, see if you can make it happen. You know, I know we had a couple of people who were foodies, and they wanted to do something separate from the group. So I put them in touch with a Traveling Spoon, a foodie vendor, and they really, really enjoyed that experience. And it was all part of the overall group, but something that was specific that would make these two couples happy. So, you know, just kind of be extra sensitive to, you know, all the different personalities.
Right. Well, this has been really valuable to the course, and I know to everyone who's in the course. And I really appreciate your time.
Oh,
And
my pleasure. My
keep us
pleasure.
posted on any new groups you have going.
Uh, it's always in my signature. That's another tip. In your email signature,
Mhm.
post groups that you have planned in the future for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, because it lets clients and other people know that, you're busy and you're putting groups together and you're traveling, and, maybe you're the one that they should contact.
That's great. That's a really good tip. Well, thank you, Lou. And
My pleasure, Deb.
thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.